Hey there, Heather, ho there, it's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to yet another Stone Cold Hockey video. And today we have to keep going with our 78-79 Boston Bruins, trying to see if Don Cherry can get his Stanley Cup and avoid being fired by that asshole Harry Sinden. Regardless of that, Boston leads the Adams division with a 7-3-2 mark. Minnesota and Toronto also would make the playoffs for the Adams division. The Norris, Montreal, Washington, and Pittsburgh would make the playoffs. The Smythe, Chicago, St. Louis, and Vancouver, even though Vancouver is 1-8-6, they have more points than Colorado. Well, I think they played more games. I don't know. And Philly, Islanders, Rangers in the Patrick. Yeah, Vancouver's 8 points. Atlanta has 14, and they would make the playoffs. Fuck. Buffalo has 10, LA 13, Detroit 11. So everyone's like, Vancouver is just in that division. It's like the Leafs in the 74-75 replay. Anyway, Guy Chouinard and Daryl Sittler lead with 11 goals. Al McAdam, my former friend Reggie Leaf, and Rod Seelbauer. Kitchener. I know you'll be thinking, you're wrong about Ron Seelbauer. He's not a Kitchener Ranger. I beg to differ. I actually had to fucking research this. Let's see here. Seelbauer, 74 draft. See? Hamilton Red Wings, but see? 73-74. Kitchener Rangers, his draft year. So he's technically a Kitchener Ranger. Points wise, Brian Trottier and Bernie Federko lead with 24 points. Gushwin are third. Pelly minutes right now. Dan Maloney, 55 points. Dave Schultz for Buffalo / Pittsburgh. Can't believe Dave Schultz was not a Flyer for life. And Nick Foytou was third place. Goals against Billy Smith, number one at 187. Mario Lazard of LA, 212. Wayne Thomas, 238. Cheevers and Chabert have not really done much for the goals against. So you see the conundrum 11 games for the Kings, and the most is 15. Well, the Leafs have 15. Points percentage wise, Buffalo should be ahead of Toronto. Washington and LA should be ahead of Montreal based on points percentage. Yeah, Montreal's point percentage actually is low. The others should be ahead on point percentage. Yeah, Vancouver's 267 points percentage. Only one team has a worse points percentage, and that's in their own division, Colorado. Highlights wise, Virginia's won. Chicago is yet to lose. 6 hat-tricks. Don Lever, Mike Bossy, Brian Trottier, Danny Potvin, Lanny McDonald, and our own Bill Barber. Kitchener. Most memorable games so far, St. Louis, Minnesota 7-6 on November 1st. 13 goals. Stanikowski beats Malosh. Rangers, Islanders. When the Rangers were looking to go 4-0-1, they were up 3-1, but blew it. Thanks to Mike Bossy scoring a pair. And Toronto St. Louis for November 7th, when Toronto fought ahead and won 6-4 thanks to Ron Wilson's goal. So let's look at the schedule. Our first game of this thing is against Washington, and we have Gilles Chabert, the backup, against Jim Bedard, their backup. Gary Ennis, former Penguin goalie, is normally the number one. Bernie Wolf, remember him? The guy that Washington tried to sign in 92 to prevent losing a goalie in the expansion draft. Or was it 93? I can't remember. Really Bouton also there. Jerry Cheever's getting the night off. Jim Petty getting some time off. Washington has Dennis Baruch, the last former Cleveland Baron to retire from the NHL. I remember that in part of a trivia quiz in 2011. Tom Rowe, Bob Savoie. I think he was with the Flyers. Guy Sharon, 700 games in the NHL, never a playoff contender. Ryan Walter, who would do much better with the Habs 10 years later, scoring double overtime in the Stanley Cup Finals. That was the trade in which he was traded for Rod Langway. Robert Picard, who was also traded to Montreal in that deal. Rolf Edberg, Mark Loftus, Bob Gerard, Rick Green, who was a pretty good defenseman who was sent to Montreal for Langway. Blair Stewart, Michel Bergeron. I don't think it was Le Petit Tigre, or was he? Paul Mulvey, Greg Carroll, Gord Lane, Peter Scamura, Gary Wisely, Leaf Swenson, Jack Lynch, Jerry Meehan, still around, wow. Bill Riley, Yvonne Lebre, his number 7 retired by the Capitals, I don't know why, Rod Lalonde. Our team, Rick Middleton, the guy we fleeced the Rangers from for the want of one Ken Hutch Sr., Peter McNabb, a good player, but he's deceased now. He was a good commentator for the Avalanche as well. John the Animal Wensick, Sean Rattel, Gentleman Sean Rattel, who plays for the Rangers again. Wayne Crashman, Taz O'Reilly, Donnie Marcotte, Bobby Schultz, Al Secord, who would do much better with the Blackhawks on the road. Bob Miller, who looks like Screech from Saved by the Bell. You know, the teenage things. Dwight Foster, Kitchener. Al Sibbs, Brad Park, who is for the Rangers. Dick Redmond, Ricky Smith, Gary Doak, Stan Jonathan, who was responsible for that too many man call in 1979. Mike Shaker Walton, Tom Sunyan, Dennis O'Brien, Mike Milbury, who later the next year would take a fan's shoe and whack him with it. Bill Bennett, and that's all the non-goalies. 3 minutes into the game. 2 minutes later. We have a chance? No. Control. Action? No. 2 minutes later. Picard gets whacked by Wensick. Of course the animal would do that. Kill the zone on Carroll and Lane. 5 minutes later. Animal come out and play. Third from Rich Smith and Peter McNabb. Makes it 1-0 Boston. 2 minutes later. MacArthur Park from Doak and Sims. 2-0 Boston. Trying to kill off the period, but they score. Jackie Lynch from Lane and Rowe. Makes it 2-1. Jackie Lynch. Don't remember talking about him. And we're up 2-1 after 20. Second period, 5 minutes. Activity. But they score. Captain Picard, his fourth from Rowe and Carroll. Makes it 2-2. 3 minutes later, battle. Oh, good. It's against Washington. Riesling. Oh, yeah. It's Earth. Redmond can't do anything. Marcotte. Third of the year. 2-2. Shortly later. Come out and play. Second of the night from McNabb Park. You know, he's a goal scorer. Then, Marcotte. Start out. Con in. Well, they're going to lose. Marcotte, his second of the night from Middleton and Pack. Much later. Speaking English. It's from McNabb and Doak. Well, Washington is just Washington. 6-2. They tied it, but we scored 4 goals in the second period. And we scored good. From Middleton to Wensick. Wensick has all those goals, but he finally gets an assist. 2 goals and assist. 6 minutes later. Martel? No. You tried. No chance. Middleton. Oh. Battle aggression. Attack get hit, but Gerard's in the box. Peter McNabb from Middleton makes it 8-2. We built a snowman. Will you build a snowman? 8-2. And we go again. Gentleman Sean Rattel from Redmond and McNabb. What did McNabb have? Well, we crushed them into fine powder, 9-2. I'm actually surprised they didn't use Innis, but they're like, we're going to lose this game anyway. So Wensick with 2, Marcotte with 2, Sims, O'Reilly, McNabb, and Rattel. McNabb had, 1, 2, 3, 4 assists. A goal and 4 assists. Peter McNabb with a 5-point game. Nice. Wonder what that is in the point standings. Well, he's now 4th. He's tied for 3rd with Chouinard behind Tretier and Federico. I wonder if that 9 goals was the most in a game. I think so. Yep, 9. Well, Pittsburgh threw a snowman on St. Louis. But yeah, we won 9-1. Yippee. So we won 9-2. That was a little too easy. Chicago on side, Philly crushed Colorado, and Vancouver gets their second win over Minneapolis. Our next game's in Detroit. LA beats Minnesota. Toronto, Montreal. No doubt Montreal was going to win that one. Atlanta shocks the Islanders. Pittsburgh shocks the Rangers. St. Louis crushes Colorado, and Buffalo crushes Washington, throwing 7 on them when we had 9 of them. We go to Detroit, and we have Chabert back in the net against Rogie Vachon. Jim Rutherford was still around. Yeah, Rogie Vachon left for free agency for Detroit, which was shocking because LA could have used him. Anyway, they have Flak Domansky, the first guy to defect from the Iron Curtain in Czechia. He was a good player in Czechia, went to the WHA for the Toros. Dale McCourt, who would be in deep trouble the year prior by an Ontario court. I think it was him. Earl Thompson, the former Leaf. Dan LeBraton, sounds like a guy from ESPN. Reed Larson, who was a good defenseman. Andre St. Laurent, Holy St. Laurent. Danny Bolduc, Nick Libet, so around Paul Woods. Tommy Bergman from Sweden. Dennis Polanic, Willie Huber from Deutschland. Roland Cloutier, Perry Murder, Fern LeBlanc, Dennis Hextall. Yes, the uncle of Ron Hextall. Bill Lockhead, J.P. LeBlanc, Sean Hamel, who would go on to a bad fate 5 years later with the Habs in the Good Friday Brawl. John Hilworth, Terry Harper, the former Hab and King. Greg Jolie, former Capital and Al Cameron. I know. All right, 4 minutes into the game. And they score Tommy Bergman from Woods and Wethermount. Trying to kill the clock, especially. Definitely. Polanic. They killed Middleton and Redmond's chances. No shot. It's still gives him a long final scores a goal. This season from St. Laurent and How are we doing? 4 minutes later. And poster. 1, 2, 3, hit. And we're down 2 after 1 period. That doesn't sound like us at all. Well, Rookie is a good goalie. Wait, but we score. Gary Doak his second from Wensick and Bobby Miller. 2-1. Way later. No chance. Oh, I thought Paul Woods was going to put it in on us. 4 minutes later. Battle. Gresham. Gresham. And it's going to be Milbury. Asshole. The check goes over the top. Polanic and Bergman makes it 3-1. We're in trouble. 3 minutes later. Gary Doak. Chabert's fumbling. What is he doing? Score. Labratton. He's been like to. Bergman in the fourth. Bergman's second assist from McCoy. We're in trouble. Question? Fight. Fight. It will be Taz versus St. Laurent. And Holy St. Laurent, he sucks. Just then, we kind of killed injury. They got hit. But the good news for us, Wensick, well, that's a game set match. But we score, well, the animal scores his fifth from McNabb and Middleton, so Wensick's putting up goals. Empty net chances now. Which was hit, and we lose in Detroit of all freaking places, 4-2. So, when I lose or tie, the next game must be simulated. Well, the game against Buffalo has to be simulated. Chicago ties LA. They got a 14-game unbeaten streak. Rangers beat the Islanders. Flyers and Canucks tie. How do we do in Buffalo? 5-3 loss. Chambers loses to Don Edwards. Kitchener. Buffalo was up 3-0. Gare with 2 and Craig Ramsey. But we came back with 3. Middleton, O'Brien finally scoring Schmaltz. But Perot and Luce. Kitchener made it 5-3. So our next game must be simulated. Others beat Colorado. LA St. Louis tie. Atlanta beat Washington. Our game. Oh, no. Atlanta beats Detroit. Colorado gets their asses handed in by Montreal. No surprise. Minnesota beats Washington. Chicago ties the Rangers. That's 15 straight unbeaten. And the Leafs beat Buffalo. So our game against Toronto would be played, but because we lost last one, and we crushed them 7-2. Paul Matier, the popcorn kid, got taken out by Cheevers. Ron Ellis and Daryl Sittler did score, but we scored Wayne Cashman Songen, his first. Shaker Walton, Middleton, Marcotte, 1 second, Schmaltz. 7 different goal scorers. So our next game must be played. Buffalo beats St. Louis. Montreal loses at LA. Wow. And finally, Chicago loses after 15 straight games unbeaten. They lose 6-1. Espo losing to Wayne Stevenson. They had nothing. Bill Barber scoring Kitchener. Pittsburgh and Vancouver tied 6-6. Wow. So now we're in Atlanta. Others shut up Washington. So our third game is in Atlanta, and it's Dan Bouchard, born again Christian against Cheevers. Bouchard with Reggie Phil Meyer left. Where did Meyer go? I think he went to Philly. Reggie Levelin, you know him being the first goalie with lightweight Pats in 1985, and Yves Belanger. Atlanta has Guy Chouinard, good player for them. Bobby McMillan, Eric Fail, Jean Protovo, former Penguin, Bobby Lalonde, Tom Lysiak, Willie Plett, good player. Ken Houston, Don Lawrence, Bill Clement from the Flyers, and he was color commentator for NBC for many years with Gary Thorne. Harold Philpott, John Gould at Kia, Pat Ribble, Dave Shand, Richard Mahone, Gene Carr from Blue, Brad Marsh, back in the old days, Greg Fox, Rod Sealing, Kitchener. 2 minutes into the game. Chance to score. Cash money. Cashman has 8 from Redmond and O'Reilly. Terry O'Reilly can pass the puck. 3 minutes later, they can't score. No chance for us. Miller. Aye. 6 minutes later. Made that penalty. It's Milberg. Damn you. But kill on Houston and Philpott. You should art. No. But we skill our cash money again. His knife McNabb with the assist. So it's 2-0 Beanpot. 2-0 after 1 period. 5 minutes later. Second? We got aggressive, and it's O'Reilly. Taz. They have a chance. No! Lalonde had a chance. Another chance. Protovo. Oh. Protovo. 4 minutes later. Battle. Session. Penalty on Boston. It's Wensick. Has a chance. Chouinard. No. You're killing the penalties. Well, that doesn't mean we should get them. Skill. Danny O'Brien. O'Brien, boy, yeah. Joe Boy O'Brien, as we call him. O'Reilly and McNabb with the second assist of their day for both of them. What a steal! Steve Chouinard trying to right position. McMillan and Houston. 2 minutes later, they have a chance, but they fail. 40 minutes down, 20 to go. We're up 3-1. 5 minutes later, Jetski speaking Simlish, his 6 from Rick Smith and Peter McNabb. McNabb's getting the assists in bunches, baby. Much later, nothing. Just killing that clock. And Bob Miller scores. It's all right. It's Screech from Saved by the Bell. What's Screech's thing? What? I don't know what his catchphrase is. From Marcotte and Dickie Redmond, 5-1. Screech! That's the only score, but we don't allow it. 5-1. We win. O'Reilly with her assist. McNabb with 3 assists. Nicely done. 5-1. We'll see what they do in the assist department. Saturday, we are at home. We're at 7 games. Oh, wow. Boston doesn't play 7 games. Colorado beat Chicago, the team that had 15 straight unbeaten. Wow. Detroit beat Buffalo. Pitt and LA tie. Rangers and Minnesota tie. Others beat the Flash. Leafs beat the Blaze. And Montreal beats Vancouver. So we host St. Louis next. So that's our next thing. Philly with a shutout. All right. So we are 5 points up on Minnesota and the Adams, Buffalo, and Toronto. So it's going to be there's a 3-horse race for second place behind us. Ha. Philly's got 25 points. Islanders and Rangers 22. Atlanta 21. Man, that's close. And the Smythe, Chicago 20 points. St. Louis with 14. Vancouver 12. They're only good because Colorado stinks. And in the North, Montreal, LA, and Pittsburgh are fighting it out. Detroit and Washington are in trouble. Goal scoring wise, Chouinard and Sittler both have 16. We don't really have a goal scoring guy. Assist wise, McNabb's third behind Trottier and Fedorko. Nice. And Terry Relly's ninth. Points wise, McNabb 6th. Trottier leads in points. McNabb 6th. Sean Rattel 17th. Okay. Penalty minutes wise. Not really. Dan Maloney 65. Bang Wilson has 21 points by 51 penalty minutes. O'Reilly's 14th. That's unusual. Brian Sutter has 13 goals and he has more penalty minutes. Well, Gilbert and Cheevers are not really doing that well in the goals against department. But we're still doing well when it counts on the scoreboard. 10 wins. Only Philly and the Islanders have that many. So that's good for now. Anyhow, I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.